met and how this, kind of came to...
I'll tell one story.
Yeah.
Mark is generally more entertaining than myself, but so I had done a film before this one called American Job, and like many people, submitted it to Sundance and it didn't get in. And it was heartbreaking. I was from the Midwest. I made a movie for $14,000, made a print and sent it in, and around near the end of December, still thinking that it might have a chance of getting in, got a letter back not knowing that they had made the decision months before, or a month before. But anyways, so time went by, and I was, and I just figured out, I figured I should start a new film. So I met, while I was finishing American Job, it was at I lived in Iowa at the time. I knew somebody that let me come up to Wisconsin. And I was editing and living in this edit room, which you saw in the movie here, and sleeping under the flatbed. And the only other person editing at that time was Mark. And I didn't know what to make of Mark. But it was in a basement, so you would find that you would every couple hours have to go outside to just get some fresh air and see daylight. And over the course of a couple months, we got to know each other. And I think the thing that most sort of inspired me and impressed me in terms of our relationship was just how I had placed all these stereotypes on Mark, I think, and just in terms of what I assumed he was like and what he was about. And over the course of this time period, he broke every one of them and proved himself to be one of the most inspiring, creative, thoughtful, caring people I'd ever met in my life. And so it had been about a year before since I'd filmed American Job, and I was writing a script, my next new film, and I just felt like I needed to film something. So Mark has denied the story in the past, but I remember it very clearly, told me he was going to go to the Toronto Film Festival to meet the Fat Man. So I had said, "Who was that?" And he said, "It's Roger Ebert." So his plan was to go to the Toronto Film Festival to meet Roger Ebert and sort of sell him on Northwestern. So I had asked who he was going with, and he said his mother, who was Swedish. And so I, of course, asked if I could go along and film. So that was the beginning of American Movie, which was actually just going to be a short film. And we went up and we filmed, and it was just like this incredible adventure experience. And while we were there, we were filming and filming and filming, and then Mark one day told me that there was free beer at the European Directors Party. So
you got a good memory, man.
Very good memory.
Wow.
I do remember this. So I'll tell one story. Okay, so we go to the European Directors Party, but there's no light at the European Directors Party, so I couldn't film. So I start looking around, and there's a guy named John Pearson, who at the time was sort of this guru of independent filmmaking, who somebody had sent my film to. So Sundance rejected me, and John Pearson never got back to me. And so I went up to John and approached him, and I explained to him who I was and the film that I had made that somebody sent to him. And he said to me, he grabbed my shoulders and said it was the best film of the last year. And the person he was with said, "What film was that?" And he said, "American Job." And the person he was with said, "I love that movie," who happened to be a programmer at Sundance. And basically, because of Mark, I ended up at the Toronto Film Festival and sort of reintroduced this film to everyone. We had been editing and recut a version of the film. We resubmitted to Sundance and it got in, which enabled us to meet people that gave us some money to make American Movie. So it was very serendipitous, but because of Mark, my first film got into Sundance, and then the second film got in because Mark is so incredible. So that's it.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
I'll leave it there. Go to Mark.
Yeah, Mark, what did you think when, Chris was, asked to make this film, and how wary were you of like opening up your life to these cameras?
Yeah, it was a great honor because I had seen American Job, remember, at the premiere at the university. And it was my kind of film, man. Harlan County, USA, salesman and all of that stuff, and American Job in '95. So it was just really cool to have Chris at the university, and American Job premiered at the university at '95. And when he said, "Hey man, can I shoot some film on you?" I was thrilled, man, because he's he's preternaturally talented and dedicated. So I mean, it just, yeah, the dude made so many of his work from the ground up, empirically with his own hands and his own instinct, you know, without 10 million people assisting him and so on and so forth. So it was a great honor to have him film that footage, and also it was a great expose for my own personality, because Chris was obviously a filmmaker and could understand, you know, hey, this guy's making a film, he's doing this stuff, man. So it was really cool to have. It was just an honor, man, to have someone of Chris's caliber just follow you around, man, and do that. So heck yeah. And then Trevor and Mike Plant are good guys. And Frankie Latina helped communicated with them, because I'm not that sticky communicating business or flying stuff. So I said, Frankie, these are great guys. Just talk to these guys. And so thank you, Trevor, and thank you, Mike, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, Mark. Really appreciate it.
And thank you, Frankie, too, for and Donnie for communicating. Everyone was communicating correctly.
Yeah. And so, you know, seeing the film here and, you know, having, you know, launched it at Sundance back in '99, you know, I'm curious too, like, you know, as a filmmaker, you know, being in a film, you know, as a subject of a film versus, you know, creating, you know, your own film, what kind of impact has being in this film, did it have on your filmmaking career?
Well, the filmmaking career is actually a psychological career. With most people, it's pretty on the surface. Hey, this is what I'm doing, you know, I'm making these films and so forth, and it's a pretty linear narrative. And other people, man, they got all this other stuff to figure out and deal with and so forth, so it's more of a rocky precipice, you know, so on and so forth, because everyone's different. There's 7 billion of us, man. So there is the interior narrative, which only one can see, and then there's the external narrative, which is this all you good people here in reaction, like I say, to Chris's preternatural presentation. So, I mean, Trevor, I don't know if we're getting wayward here or what this means, but that's what I say.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly what we were getting at.
Oh, man.
And now, as far as Coven goes, you know, we're going to be screening it here coming up.
Thank
you know,
you.
and did how did those VHS tapes move?
They went well. Yeah, I mean, it you know, it worked out. You know, yeah. Thank you, Trevor. Yeah, it went well. And what's amazing is that's time gone by, time you can't get back. That was back in, let's say, what was it, the late '90s, and now here we are in an entirely different realm. Time is past. The past is crumbled. It's irretrievable. You know, here we are already in a mad ascent to another realm, the future, man.
And you keep. I was noticing too, like watching this film with you in the cemetery back then when you were working there, and here we are in this cemetery too. The kind of the layers on that kind of struck me too.
That's some heavy-duty irony, man.
Well, is there anything you want to tell the crowd before we get Coben rolling here?
You know, I mean, that opens the realm to so many crazy different things. I mean, I actually now to everyone sees us, right? But this is the way Ozzy Osbourne feels. He can't see nothing, man. It's just blankness, it's just light, this craziness, man. And but in this blackness, there's great people out there, man. So thank you.
That's great. Well, I guess now, John, are we all ready to